And welcome to the special edition of Hannity, Deep State Under Siege. Now, tonight, the private Comey memos are out, and the disgraced former FBI director, along with his deep state friends, they are being completely exposed. Now, in just moments, we're going to show you some of James Comey's blatant lies and contradictions brought to light by these memos. We'll also break down how Comey may tonight be in serious legal jeopardy, and we'll also explain how these revelations are just one more layer of proof that President Trump never colluded with Russia in any way, shape, manner, or form, or did he ever attempt to obstruct justice in any way? And also tonight, after President Trump's significant diplomatic progress aboard and huge economic successes right here at home, the Democratic Party is desperate to keep this false Trump-Russia narrative collusion alive by turning to their favorite weapon. Let's start a frivolous lawsuit. What a sham. Now it's time for the Democrats to face the music. These insane conspiracy theories are now falling apart right before their eyes. Now sit tight. We're covering all of this. Plus, there's yet another pathetic moment from Hillary Clinton, all in tonight's breaking news opening monologue. All right, so being threatened with a subpoena, finally, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein released James Comey's memos to Congress, and the former FBI director is now in serious trouble tonight. And according to a report from the Wall Street Journal, the Justice Department is now currently probing the documents over classified information, and they are, quote, at least two of the memos that the former FBI director, James Comey, gave to a friend outside of the government contained information that officials now consider classified. Now, just remember, a few days ago on Sunday night, James Comey, he assured all of us that those memos were all unclassified. Take a look.
He made a controversial decision to leak his memos to a friend who read them to the New York Times.
The president's tweeted innumerable times calling you a leaker. Well, what's your response to President Trump?
Look, it's true. I mean, I'm the one who testified about it. That's how people know about it. I gave that unclassified memo to my friend and asked him to give it to a reporter. That is entirely appropriate.
All right, so is James Comey lying? All signs now tonight point to yes. Now listen to how Comey's story is changing during his recent interview with Jake Tapper. Take a look.
Senator Grassley, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, says that there are 7 memos. He says 4 of them are classified. Is that right?
I don't know, because I don't have the memos. I don't know exactly how many there are. Some may be memos, some may be emails. There's somewhere between 5 and 10. It may be 7, it may be 8. I don't remember. And I think some of them, I know when I created some of them, they were classified, but I don't know how many of that group.
One of them is, the classified one is obviously from when you told President Trump in Trump Tower about what was in that 2-page annex about the Steele dossier, the summary of what was in the Steele dossier. What would the other classified ones be about?
Well, I can't answer that if they're classified.
Now, of course, another damning sign that Comey unlawfully leaked classified information comes from the actual memos. For example, note how the Justice Department released only the redacted version to Congress, blackening out the dozens of sections and words here. Now, why redact information if it's not classified? And perhaps the most obvious sign that Comey leaked secret classified information comes from his own words, and I'm quoting directly here. I am not sure of the proper classification here, so I have chosen secret. Now, according to reporting from Catherine Herridge, we are now learning that the Justice Department's probe of these memos is just part of a broader review of Comey's communications outside of the Bureau, including his conduct with media organizations. Now, remember, this all comes after what might be the most unbelievable line in the memos when Comey actually writes that President Trump, quote, said, I don't do sneaky things. I don't leak. I don't do weasel moves. Okay, just a few months after writing those words, Comey would leak those very memos to a friend who then leaked them to the New York Times, setting in wheels the motion for Comey's best friend, Robert Mueller, to be appointed as a special counsel, which was his goal. In a moment, Alan Dershowitz and Joe DeGeneva will join us to weigh in on the legal jeopardy that James Comey is perhaps facing. But first, we have yet another glaring Comey contradiction to bring you. In an interview with The New Yorker, James Comey actually agreed Christopher Steele, the author of that discredited, phony, unverified, Clinton bought and paid for Russian propaganda dossier, is, quote, credible and reliable. But they also fired him. Take a look.
Jane Mayer wrote a very comprehensive piece in The New Yorker about Christopher Steele's dossier and about Christopher Steele. Is he considered reliable, according to your sources, as an intelligence agent?
Yes. As it was described to me when it came in, it was raw intelligence, so a series of reports from a credible person with a reliable track record and a known, experienced, and source network in Russia. And so it was something to be taken seriously. It didn't mean that it was all true, but it was to be taken seriously. And its core assertion was corroborated by other intelligence. Its core assertion being the Russians have a campaign going on to interfere in the American election.
All right, so why did they fire Christopher Steele? By the way, I want a question answered. Did Comey also pay Christopher Steele? Now, he praises the former British spy, but still, to this day, he can't verify any of the information found in the dossier, including the totally untrue Russian lie about Trump, Ritz-Carlton, Moscow, hookers urinating on a bed, which the media is obsessed with. And this is huge. According to Comey's memos, the president actually encouraged the FBI's investigation into Russian meddling and possible collusion. Based on a conversation that Comey had with Trump on March 30th of last year, Comey writes in his own memos that President Trump told him, if there's some satellite, I took this to mean some associate of his or his campaign that did something, it would be good to find that out, but that he hadn't done anything. So not only did the president want to fully investigate everything related to Russia, it also clearly contradicts any claims that President Trump wanted to obstruct this investigation. Now, the president is reacting to the release of Comey's memos. He wrote on Twitter, quote, James Comey memos are just out and show clearly there was no collusion, no obstruction. Also, he leaked classified information. Wow. Will the witch hunt continue? Now, we are now in day 338 of the runaway Mueller probe, and there is still zero evidence of collusion. Now, this proves that this investigation has gone way off the rails. It has turned into a total witch hunt. And we're also learning another interesting revelation about James Comey from his ongoing self-aggrandizing book tour. Now, despite claims from the mainstream media, many Democrats, well, we now know that James Comey is not a Republican, hasn't been for a long time. Gee, thanks for telling us.
You've said before that you are or were a Republican until very, very recently. Is that correct?
Well, I really wasn't. Last time I really thought of myself as a Republican was in 2012, but I've made a clear decision this year that I'm not going to register as a Republican, not going to be a Republican.
All right, naturally, in that very same interview, Comey also said that the country would be better off with Hillary Clinton as president. He's not political at all. Take a listen.
Do you think we'd be a lot better off with Hillary Clinton as president than Donald Trump?
Certainly, given her commitment to our traditions and our norms and our values and the rule of law, yes.
Wow, really? Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise after the special treatment Clinton received from Comey during the criminal investigation into her private email server. We know she committed crimes, and we also know that Comey put the fix in. And we all know about the exoneration starting in May before the investigation in July, with Comey agreeing to call the investigation a matter when it was an investigation. And, of course, the FBI looking the other way while Hillary Clinton destroyed 33,000 emails that were subpoenaed, acid washed the hard drive with bleach bit, and then had an aide beat up her devices with a hammer. But all of this white glove treatment didn't stop Hillary Clinton from victimizing herself following the 2016 election results. Now, according to experts from a brand new book entitled Chasing Hillary, 10 years, 2 presidential campaigns, and 1 intact glass ceiling, Clinton is bemoaning that, quote, they were never going to let me be president. Really, Hillary? Now, you have her, you have the media, the deep state, all the political elites were actively working to help make you president. And despite your criminal history and the complete and utter failure as Secretary of State, that's a pretty good line of support. And of course, Hillary Clinton is not the only person having a hard time coping with the 2016 election results. Now, after months, over a year of investigations, zero evidence of collusion, now the Democratic Party is so upset that it's all coming to an end and now grasping at straws. and the DNC, crybabies that they are, have today officially filed what is a laughable, completely frivolous lawsuit alleging that Russia, the Trump campaign, WikiLeaks all conspired to interfere with the 2016 election. So you have sore loser Democrats now actively trying to use the court system to malign the president further, distract Americans from progress that we're actually seeing every day in this country and abroad, including a, booming economy, record low unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, tax cuts that are putting more money in people's pockets, and along with some very significant diplomatic progress in North Korea and elsewhere around the world, which is, of course, a clear, forceful, and successful response that we saw in the case of Syria and the use of chemical weapons and biological weapons. So don't be fooled by Democrats' politically motivated lawsuit here. It's a joke. It's meant to create distractions. They can't let go, and they can't admit they were wrong and that they pushed a phony conspiracy theory. This country is on the right track right now, and the left's wild theories, their conspiracy, black helicopter theories, are falling apart before their eyes, just as we have predicted on this show over and over again. So we've been saying 2018 is the year of the boomerang. All right, joining us now is the author of the new